WannaCry. In May 2017, the digital world was brought to its knees in a matter of hours, and what made it terrifying was that it required nothing from you. No suspicious link, no downloaded file. WannaCry was a worm. It moved on its own, jumping automatically between computers by exploiting a vulnerability in older versions of Windows. A vulnerability, it later emerged, that had been discovered and stockpiled by the U.S. National Security Agency before being leaked by hackers. Within hours, it had reached 150 countries. It did not discriminate. Schools, banks, government agencies, all frozen. But the most devastating impact was on the UK's National Health Service. Doctors were locked out of patient records mid-shift. Surgeries were cancelled. Ambulances were diverted. The system that keeps people alive was running on paper notes. A ticking countdown timer on the ransom screen warned victims their data would be permanently deleted if they didn't pay. The attack was only slowed when a 22-year-old British security researcher noticed the virus was pinging an unregistered web address and registered it for £8. That single action acted as an accidental kill switch, halting WannaCry's spread. But by then, the damage had already been done. The virus had proven something the world was not ready to accept: that our hospitals, our infrastructure, our essential services are all one unpatched system away from collapse. Stuxnet. If WannaCry was about money, Stuxnet was something far more calculated. Discovered in 2010, it is widely considered the world's first true digital weapon. A piece of code built not to steal data, but to physically destroy real-world equipment. Stuxnet was engineered to infiltrate industrial control systems, specifically the software managing centrifuges, the high-speed machines used in uranium enrichment at Iran's Natanz nuclear facility. Once inside, it didn't announce itself. It waited. When it identified its exact target, it began subtly manipulating the spin speed of the centrifuges, forcing them through cycles that would slowly tear the metal apart from the inside, bearings failing, components fracturing, and all the while, the monitoring screens visible to engineers in the control room were showing completely normal readings. The machines were destroying themselves, and nobody knew. It is estimated that Stuxnet physically damaged around 1,000 centrifuges, setting back Iran's nuclear program by years. No bombs, no missiles, just code. The authorship has never been officially confirmed, but intelligence analysts widely attribute Stuxnet to a joint operation between the United States and Israel. What it proved is a principle that now shapes modern warfare. In the digital age, the most powerful weapon in existence might be invisible, and it might already be inside the machine. MyDoom. If Stuxnet was a precision strike, MyDoom was a flood. Appearing in January 2004, it remains to this day the fastest-spreading email worm ever recorded and the most financially destructive piece of malware in history. MyDoom's method was almost elegant in its simplicity. Once it infected a machine, it scanned every file it could find: documents, browser caches, address books, pulling out every email address stored on the system. It then sent itself to every single one of those contacts, disguised as a failed delivery notice or a routine business message. Because the email appeared to come from a known contact, millions of people opened it without question. At its peak, MyDoom accounted for approximately 1 in every 4 emails sent across the entire internet. But it wasn't just about spreading. Infected machines were quietly conscripted into a global botnet, a network of zombie computers used to launch devastating DDoS attacks, flooding major websites with so much traffic that they collapsed entirely. By the time containment was achieved, MyDoom had caused an estimated $38 billion in damages worldwide. No military, no government, just an email that looked boring enough to open. The I love you virus. Before MyDoom, there was a simpler lesson, and it had nothing to do with software. In May 2000, a virus arrived in email inboxes around the world with a subject line that read, "I love you." Attached was a file that appeared to be a plain text document called love-letter-4-u.txt. Human curiosity did the rest. The moment the file was opened, a script went to work, overwriting images, music files, and documents with copies of itself, then opening the user's address book and sending the same love letter to every contact they had. The speed of spread was exponential. Major corporations and government agencies had to physically unplug their email servers just to stop the bleeding. It infected an estimated 50 million computers in 10 days, causing roughly $10 billion in damages. The I Love You virus didn't exploit a technical flaw. It exploited something much harder to patch, the human desire to feel wanted. And it proved that the most dangerous vulnerability in any system isn't the software, it's the person sitting in front of it. CryptoLocker and Petya. As the years passed, viruses became more professional, more corporate. By 2013, the hackers weren't just writing chaos, they were running businesses. CryptoLocker changed the game entirely. It used military-grade encryption algorithms that were, for all practical purposes, unbreakable. If CryptoLocker reached your files, there were exactly two outcomes. You paid the ransom, or you accepted the loss. There was no third option, no recovery tool, no workaround. It was the birth of ransomware as a professional criminal industry. Then, in 2017, came Petya, and Petya was more aggressive still. While most ransomware targets individual files, Petya went after the master boot record, the foundational layer of a computer that tells the machine how to start itself. When infected, a computer would restart and display what appeared to be a routine disk check, the kind of screen people see and ignore. While the user waited, Petya was silently locking them out of the entire drive. When it was finished, a red and white skull appeared on screen, demanding Bitcoin. MEMZ and "You are an idiot." Not every virus is a weapon. Some are experiments, some are statements, and some are simply designed to watch the world burn. "You Are an Idiot" was a relic of the early 2000s internet, a program that flooded your screen with flashing pop-up windows that mocked you by name. Close 1 and 6 appeared in its place. It didn't steal anything, it didn't encrypt your files, it simply consumed every resource your machine had until the system gave up entirely and crashed. MEMZ, from 2016, was more deliberate. It was created as a technical demonstration of total system control, and it escalated in stages. First, your mouse would begin drifting on its own. Then the colors on screen would invert, random sounds, distorted visuals, a slow unraveling. And then, like Petya, it would overwrite the boot record, ensuring that when the computer was finally switched off, it would never start Windows again. Both were created for chaos rather than profit, but they reveal something true about the nature of malware. It doesn't always need a motive beyond the ability to do it. The systems we rely on every single day for our healthcare, our finances, our communications are built on lines of code that can be found, studied, and broken by anyone patient enough to look. WannaCry proved it. Stuxnet proved it. MyDoom proved it. And the next one is already being written somewhere. Keep your software updated. This is Digital Decay. Subscribe and turn on notifications. A new episode drops every week. Stay sharp and stay safe.